Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure tonight to have with us Rabbi Avram Barzilai, which is an expert in education. Besides being a counselor to many educators around the world, and especially in Israel, and counseling families and helping people have the right type of approach when it comes to educating our children. We find ourselves in a generation where unfortunately everybody is labeled, pre-labeled, relabeled, and when you're so labeled like this, it gets a little difficult for us to be able to really take out the potential out of our children. You know, you already put a label on somebody, and it's very difficult for them to grow to the next level. So what's very interesting for me, and the reason I right away agreed to have Rabbi Barzilai speak to us, is because the advice that he gives is a very, very practical advice. You have a type of speaker which gives you big, nice lectures. You go out of the lecture and you don't have something in your hand, a tool to say, you know what, this is what I need to change. This is the direction I need to take. This is the way I need to reframe my vision of education. So tonight we're very happy and excited to have with us Rabbi Avram Barzilai. If anybody wants to participate in sponsoring tonight's lecture, you may do so by coming to see me right after the lecture. And those who want to have a private audience with the rabbi, he's leaving back to New York tomorrow morning, but you definitely can have Skype encounters with him, as well as you have CDs and DVDs, workshops, etc., that you may acquire. And the fact that you're here tonight already shows that you care about your children's education. I want to conclude before I give the mic to the rabbi, with a word of the Rebbe Rashab. The fifth Lubavitcher Rebbe, and it was reported just last week in Hayom Yom, said that the same way a person has an obligation to put on tefillin every day, parents have an obligation to speak about their children's education half an hour every day. Only the speaking itself already gives a certain koach, gives a special power to a child to be able to go in the right path. And in today's troubled times, where David Amer says, Nafshi bechapi tamid, my soul is always in danger every second. The word chapi could mean the hand, right? It's obvious that we need special siyata dishmaya, special help from above. With no further ado, Rabbi Barzilai, bechavod.
Good evening, everyone. Before we start, I would like to express real appreciation to Rabbi Amar that not everybody knows the long story of us, but Baruch Hashem, there was a lot of fights of the Yetzer Hara do not make this evening done. But Baruch Hashem, despite all the ikuvim that we had, Baruch Hashem, we're here. And I hope and I believe that I have a good reason why I'm here. Because if we saw so huge Ashgacha Prati that I've been here tonight, maybe it's for a good reason. So I believe that each one of you heard a lot of lectures about raising children, had a lot of knowledge, you read a lot of books, and as we say in Hebrew, Merov etzim lo roim et hayar. Since you have so many trees, you cannot recognize that this is a whole forest. You're just getting out and you don't know where the path is. Tonight, I won't give you one more lecture, as the rabbi said, that it's a wonderful lecture and you go home and after one night, overnight, you forget everything. And when it comes to discipline or it comes to some issues with the kids, we shut down. Today I'm going to give you one main tool that if you really percept it as well, I think you can use it all over your life, even for our personal life as an adult. It can be really useful for us. Well, the question is, how look the great model of the educator? Because it's not a lecture for educators. We are some, plain people. We have kids, but we don't aware of the fact that we has a job in this world. Because if Hashem gave us kids, which means in every single baby who born to this world, he came with certificate from God that you are the only mother who is really fit to grow up this certain children, this certain kid. And if we have kids, which means Hashem trusts us, and Hashem expecting us to do something with it. Not just to go, each one of us really deeply understand that if you want to get a license for driving a car, it's a simple action to drive in a car. But you have to get a permission. You have to get some lessons for that, right? There are two topics in our life that nobody may qualify for them. It's chinuch yeladim and it's zugiyut, marriage. Nobody gives us any guidance, and if you realize those two sections has the most problem, the most issues. You know how many divorces has in the world? Experts say like two-thirds, two-thirds. It's an issue. How many kids running out, going off of the derech? Many. And why? Now let's say that you are very qualified and you know how to educate your children. And I would like to present a sample example for you. And you tell me, what do you think about that father that I'm talking about? There was one father, he heard a lot of lectures, read a lot of books, and he knows that it's not good to hit your kids. It's not good to smack them. It's not good to punish them. And it's not good to ruin them. So he wake up in the morning and he has a little Yossi, 6 years old, or 7 years old, or 10 years old, and he just watching him. And he saw that in the morning, Yossi didn't wash his hand. He didn't make netilat yadayim. So he take a pen and a notepad and he writes, Yossi needs chizuk, needs to fix the matter of netilat yadayim in the morning. And he doesn't say anything. He put it inside his pocket. Afternoon when he came home, he didn't make his homework. So he writes, Yossi needs chizuk in making his homework. And then he was fighting with his sister for the toy or for a game or something like this. Then he writes, he needs chizuk to be mevater. And he make a long list and he doesn't say any word to his child. When evening comes and the rest of his brother went to sleep, he called him, Yossi, I want to talk to you. And then they sitting together on a couch and he served him a cup of tea. And they sit together and he say, Yossi, look, I just want to talk to your heart. Look, I want you to be better. This morning you came up and you didn't wash your hands. And afternoon you was fighting with your sister for the game. And you didn't make your homework. And you didn't say Kiryat Shema on the bed. Look how many things not good. Please, I want you to be better tomorrow. I want you to fix your ways. And I want it for your own goodness, not for me. And then he sent him to his bed, and he goes to his bed very satisfied with himself. I'm a great educator. What do you say about this father? Good behavior or not behavior? Good chinuch or not good chinuch? Mi be'ad, who thinks that is good chinuch, raise his hand. Don't be afraid. Express your own opinion. Don't be afraid of me. What do you say? Okay, you're ashamed to raising your hand, but just because of my question, you hesitate, right? Okay. Well, I think that the answer of this question is.
Maybe you ask the other question. Who thinks it's not good chinuch?
Who thinks it's not good chinuch? You have very smart crowd, Rabbi.
And who doesn't have an opinion? Raise your hand.
You know, I made a research that on the computer he gave you 3 options. 1, yes, no, or maybe later. I think definitely 100% of people maybe later. You know why? We have no the power to make considerations. We both do not even think about it. Well, as Trump say, well, Fox, you have to know that it's not good. It's not good education. It's not only not good, it's really destroying his children's education. And I'll tell you why. And if I made all the way from Israel to here, only for this answer, it was worth everything. And I'll tell you why. What is a personality? How personality built up? Each one of us has a something which called self-image. Self-image is the way I see myself. What kind of personality I have? What kind of person am I? Now, how we build our personality. There is 2 kinds of personalities. There is individual personality, and there is general personality. Each one of you has an individual personality because we are already adults, which means there is I, there is me here, and there is a crowd around me, and there is people, and there is rabbi, there is a lecturer, there is neighbors, right? But I have my own life. But the kids, it doesn't work like that. Little kids, since he born till he 14 years old, maybe 15 years old, he doesn't sees himself as an individual personality. He just sees himself as a part of a group which called family. Specifically, especially parents. And the way the parents behave towards their children, that's the way they will perceive themselves in the future. Which means, for example, let's say that Yossi came home with an ice cream in his hand. And mommy asked him, where did you get the ice cream? He said, I bought. How did you buy that? I found $2. Where did you find? You know those kids. Where did you find? At home. Where at home? In your room. When in your room? When in the room? In your bag. When in my bag? In your wallet. I found it. In Bnei Brak they say, lo tignov, lo timtza. That's the same thing. But I'm not talking about these kind of kids. He came home and he said, yeah, I found $2. Where did you find? When did you find? How did you find? And when he give you all the answers and we don't have what to say, we say, okay, I believe you. You're not believe him. And he realized, he noticed that you actually suspect him always. So he started to develop a personality of someone who is untrust. You cannot trust him. He feels inside his heart, I am a person that people cannot trust me. Now, if I want to define what his personality is, personality of a person is what your mind busy on most of the day. Let's say the most of the day I'm thinking about doing bad things, which means I have bad personality. Because I'm always dealing with doing bad things. This father, when he called Yossi every night, and he tell him very nicely, with a cup of tea, look Yossi, this morning you didn't wash your hand. Now there is 2 kinds of message. There is external message, and there is what we called subtext. The word is, and let's try to imagine the words coming out from his mouth of the father. He says, Yossi, this morning you didn't wash your hands. But Yossi hears double message. The subtext is, you are not good, right? That's why I have to comment. That's what I have to fix you up, right? You are not good. So, Yossi, you didn't wash your hand. Yossi hears, you are not good. And then, afternoon, when you came home, you didn't make your own homework. You didn't make your homework. The subtext is, going with it, you are not good. That's what I have to tell you, right? And then, you didn't give up for your sister, for the toy. You're not good, you're not good, you're not good. He heard it 10 times every night. You're not good, you're not good, you're negative. Which kind of personality is going to build? He always focuses his child attention on the negative things he has. What a chance he will have the powers to make a change. No chance for that. 100%. From my experience, from many people that came to me to get consultation, no way. And you know, it's worse than the other father. There is different father that he very wild. He smack his son every night. Why you did so? Why you did so? Why you didn't do so? It's easier than the first one. You know why? Because the second one, when he wild with his child, when this child will grow up, he will fight for everything. He will want to revenge towards his father. He will be disagree with those words that he heard all over his childhood, because he hates his father. So he has a chance, maybe he says to himself, my father was a stupid. I'm not like this and this and this, what he told me all over my childhood. So he has a chance to come up and make a change. But the first one, he cannot even be angry with his father, because his father told him how much he's worth with a big smile, with a cup of tea. He took from him even the opportunity to be angry on him. And this is a great damage. Really great damage. Now I want to ask you a question. Let's say that you have an average adult, average Haredi. You know what is Haredi? Like me, black and white, like a penguin. Black and white. Or they say black hat. Now, he grown up, and there is some situation. He's sitting in Leil Shabbat, in Friday night, lonely in his home, and he has on the plata, on the plata, he has the pot of the chun, the chamin. And suddenly in Leil Shabbat, the electric was shut down. Now nobody look at him. Nobody watch him. What do you say? Do he come to the electric plug and pull the plug up? Or maybe he will pass and, you know, this Shabbat, I'm not going to eat chunt. What do you say? Average Haredi people get Haredi chinuch from his childhood. Nobody sees him. He's going to do it or not? What do you say? Not do it. Of course, obviously, right. You're right. Now the second question is, why? Why he's not doing it? Nobody to watch him. Nobody will never know about it. He is alone at home. So he has Yirat Shamayim, you say. In different words, you say he has Yirat Shamayim. Nobody sees me, but Hashem sees me, right? So he wouldn't do it because of Yirat Shamayim. If this so, I have one more last question. Why the same person, when he pick up the phone, he can speak over an hour with his friends, so many Lashon Hara, so many machloket, so many bad words. Does he have Yirat Shamayim? There is a special Yirat Shamayim for Shabbos matters, and a different Yirat Shamayim for Lashon Hara matters? No. The very sad answer is, it's not because of the Yirat Shamayim. It's because of the self-image. And average Haredi people, when he grown up, he has a picture on himself. I am not under the title of Mechalel Shabbat. Can be. Because he saw in his home, when someone touched the lights, did he get shocked? What have he done? Shabbat. But when he spoke Lashon Hara, doesn't matter. That's the picture, that's the image he built to himself about himself. That's why he wouldn't pull the plug, not because of Yirat Shamayim. And you can find a lot of people out there that they are Mechalel Shabbat. They drive in a car in Shabbat outside, but when you serve him a small bacon, he wouldn't touch it. Why? It's much less chamur, it's much less important like Shabbat. So he mechalel Shabbat, but he wouldn't eat chazir. Why? Not because of Yirat Shamayim. Because of the self-image. In his home back, he grown up in an environment, chazir? No way. And you can find someone who eat chazir. But when he get a baby born, and you tell him, what do you need for to make Brit Milah? Pass. We say, what are you talking about? It's a Brit Milah. It's not because you're at Shamayim. It's because of the environment where you've grown up. That's it. When we criticize our children, when we actually repeatedly say words like you're lazy, you're stupid, you drive me crazy, they start to internalize, this is my personality. The world, divided by many, many people. There are courage people, there is successful people, there is thieves, there is criminals, and there is lazies. I belong to the lazy department. That's what he feels. Because that's the words he already heard in his home. I would like to read you a letter that one of the teenagers in Israel wrote to his father. He got off the derech, of course. He was like 18 years old. He got off the derech and he was feel very, very bad hatred to his father, to his parents, because they always told him how much he's not good. And this guy came to a treatment to my rabbi in Chinuch, Rabbi Yechiel Jacobson, who heard about him. And he actually treated this case. And he told him, I have a suggestion to you, to write a letter to your father. Even if we won't send it to your father, the very fact that you write it down will, takes the things off your heart. And that's what he done. And I would like to read you this letter because I think we should learn a lot from this letter. Daddy, I call you Daddy in attempting to awake your chilly heart. But the truth is, this is not correct, because I had never felt that you are Daddy. I always felt that you are a cruel enemy. The most of I remember from you was that you was yell at me. Look, it became like a nightmare for him. The yells, the screamings. There are homes, this is the general atmosphere. Screams, yells, everything. Who knows which kind of experience you're actually making right now to your children and your home without being aware of that. And the father wouldn't be aware, that's it. I just felt that I am an evil, but I didn't know how to fix it up. The very thing that you really made to convince me is that I'm guilty of everything. Even you told me once, in your kindness, that you are sick because of me. Very common sentence that father or mother say, you get me sick. We just feel that we are so helpless. And we ourselves want our mother and father next to us right now. But actually, our children don't know it. In your kindness, you told me that you are sick because of me. But why? Why you did it to me? Did you really believe that's the way you're going to help me to overcome? Can you imagine to yourself how many times I was dreaming at night that you are dead because of me? In those days, you didn't care about me. You didn't even know what I'm going through because of your cruelly words. But maybe today, you will be able to try and understand what it did to me. Because of you, I was waking up at night, approaching silently to your room to see if you're still alive. I was afraid to death from darkness. But I most be afraid, scared, to stay in my bed. So I was approaching to your room, put my ear beyond the door, and listening to your breath. Because for one moment, it was a silent, and I was afraid at 3 points. I don't understand. I really don't understand. Why did you win so far of me? How you didn't try to understand what you do to me at all? Did you ever try to help me? To teach me what to do? Or did you thought that this is enough to be angry with me, to blame me, to add one more pain on my pants? I would like to make a break here and to explain a very important thing. Let's go back to the example. We have Yossi, he's 7 years old, and he put the glass over here, on the corner of the table. And then he made uncareful motion and he fell down and broke. What is the first response of us? Look what he's done. Don't you have an eyes? Can you be more careful? We're actually angry with him, but we don't give him a guidance for the next time. So now the little kid feels guilty. It's inconvenience to get yells from father or mother, right? So he feels bad with himself, but he doesn't have any tool for the next time to avoid from the same mistake. Good father, what he has to do? We should tell him, look, when you put the glass here, it's too closely to fall down. I want you, when you take a glass, I want you to put it inside the table. And when you say inside, not all kids really understand you. You have to give an example. Told him, do you know our great plate that we have in Shabbat? Big plates. Now, in your try to imagine there is a plate of Shabbat here. When you put the glass, put it beyond the plate. Here. Now you gave him a tool. For the next time he have the abilities to avoid from doing the same mistake. But we actually just yell at him, scream at him, give him a feeling that he is an evil, he is not good, and that's it.
What happened if he was wild, and in his wildness he bam, like this? So what do you tell him then?
I think it's...
Go put it in the middle.
No. When you say that he is a wild, it's actually belong to a different section when we're talking about discipline. Which means in our home we have rules and we have to use gentle. Now, many people say, look, he has a behavioral disorder. He's a wild. And this guy, by the way, talking about this, he also was a wild. But let's say that he has a behavioral disorder. In Hebrew we say, hafra'at itna'agut. When I came once to one of the classes to watch a shiur, and then I saw the Rebbe in the shiur, he was very angry with his kids, with his students, he gave a lot of punishments. By the way, punishments doesn't give anything to kids, in case you didn't realize that. And I tell you why. In Israel, there is very common punishment to write 1,000 also, but 100 times, 200 times, I won't speak in the middle of the class, okay? Something like this. Now, what do you really think? Let's say that you gave to Yossi 100 times, do not speak in the middle of the class. Now he starts writing, do not speaking in the middle of the lesson. Do not speak. Then in the 10 times or in the 20 times, when his hands start to broken, then he say to himself, oh, how did I did it? I spoke in the middle of the lesson. Oh, I should not do it again. And then he write the 4th time, and his hand so painful, and he say, how did I did it? Oh no. Do not speak in the middle of the lesson. I can't believe I did it. And then he start crying in the 8th time, right? and all the paper get wet, and he has to restart everything. Do you believe that? No. When he writes, and he feels so pain, he says to himself, next time, I'm going to talk much more, but I will be smart enough that you're not going to catch me. That's it. That's the only thing that he has. And the worst in punishment is, I want you to take a Sefer Musar, like rebuke one of the holy. Let's say that he was angry. Okay, I want you to take a Sefer Pele Yoetz or something like this, in the shower of the Kas. I want you to copy it twice or maybe 3 times. It's much worse, because in the future, when he will be adult, and he wants to learn about Midat HaKas, he opens the book and he feels bad experience, because he was writing it so many times all over his childhood. So he doesn't want even to look about this page. Did you ever thought that maybe you should guide me instead of blame me to add pain on my pains? Maybe you got nervous because you yourself didn't know what to do. A lot of time, we don't know what to do. So that teacher, he told me about one of his students. He told me, you see this guy? He has a behavioral disorder. So I called this guy. I told him, how do you feel? He said, very well. Don't you have a problem in your life? No, everything is fine. Okay, go back to your seat. Then I told to the teacher, he has the behavioral. You got the disorder. That's it. It's disorder to you. It's interrupting you. It bothers you that he wild. But he feels very well. And it's not a joke. I tell you why it's not a joke. Because sometimes, so many times, we take our midot that we have to fix, we have to be better, we have to learn Sefer Musar to become more calm, more bimevater. And we say, it's his problem. He get me nervous. He wild. He's not good. Who told you that? Maybe you got nervous because you yourself didn't know what to do. But if it really so, why did you think that I should know? Did you ever try to be instead of me? To think what I really feel? What am I going through? Did you ever try to imagine to yourself, how is the feeling that you are always wrong, always not good, always negative, that you are guilty of everything and that you don't have any chance to make any change? And it's really convinced our children when we said repeatedly, you're not good, you're lazy, why you did so, why you didn't do so, even if we don't talk. He tried to do something, to fix something, and we say, leave it to me. Oh, oish, oish. There are many parents, they don't talk, but there is oish, oish. Make the kids feeling that I'm worthless, I'm nothing. And then he started to be convinced that he has no any chance to be better. And I'll tell you why. Let's say that you have a kid, and always when he came from school with a test, an examination, he gave you 50%. This is his mark. The limit of his mark, 50%. He's going by percent here in Miami? Okay. 50%, that's it. Now, he really wants you to appreciate him, but you got 50%. So there is very innocent kids that they try to please their parents, and they try so hard, and suddenly he brought home 100%. And mommy say, wow, kol hakavod. There is no translation to kol hakavod. There's no, I make a double check. Maybe wow, but that's it. Okay, kol hakavod, 100%, and we post it on the refrigerator. Wow. Now this innocent kid feels so good that day, but he not really aware about the danger and the trap that he fall in. You know why? Because next time he came home with the 50%, and then mommy say, why 50%? You have the powers for 100. Look at the refrigerator. If you won't get 100, it's not because you can't. It's because you don't really want. I want you to put all your efforts. So, the very fact that he got 100%, instead of giving him powers, compliments should give powers to kids. It's actually vacuum the powers from him. It's take the powers. Because now it's committing him. That's it. One time in all your life when you got 100%, now you must doing it. Instead of giving me a pleasure, now it's getting me to a pressure, right? Did you ever try to imagine how is the feeling that you are all guilty and that you don't have a chance to make a change? You abused me, really like that. And after that, you was laugh at me about the results of your abuse. You was degrading me, that I am a poor, that I am a crybaby, that I am a failure. You was laugh at me for everything. But did you ever try to think, maybe do you also have a part in this situation? The words I'm writing right now are really cold and dry, but my eyes, definitely not. Why didn't you understand that your sharp rebuke didn't be able to give me any benefits? What did it help to you that you convinced me that I am not just a total failure, but also cruel and evil? I believed you. In an innocence of a poor child, I believe you all. And that's the main problem here. When you say a bad word to your kid, you say, you're crazy. You say, you lazy. He believes you. That's the problem. He really believes you. And he starts to internalize, that's what I am. If I suspect my child every time that something will disappear at home, I think that he stole it. He started to develop a personality of a thief. And the great chidush is that even if he one thief, even one time all over his life, every time that he will hear about something, they're talking about thief, or someone asks, where's my keys? He started trembling. He's sure that they're meaning to him because of the self-image. I believed you in an innocence of a poor child. I also believed you that I'm guilty at the fact that you are not in health. But what did you gain, Father? What did you gain? Luckily, you was desperate of me in the last few years. That's why you stopped yelling at me. But even after that, you always being angry with me. Then I didn't really understand it. But today I already understand. I understand that you was angry with me, that I wasn't intelligent enough. One more issue. We think that our kids is going by a spatial order. How I want my kids should be, very beautiful, very smart, the most smartest people in the world, something special that everyone who sees him will be wondering what a special kid you have. By the way, it's the total opposite from what of Hannah asked from Hashem. Hannah asked from Hashem, "Natata la'amatcha zera anashim." You know what it means, zera anashim? She so prayed for a kid. But which kind of kid? Zera anashim. Sheyeh ish ben anashim. She was willing for a kid should be like one person among many. A regular person, not something special. That's where the hopes and the tefillot of our imahot, not like today. So we want a child in a spatial order. And he born in, and he started to grow up, and he's in Hebrew, we say satum. You know what's satum? Like ADHD. He doesn't really understand. I'm trying to explain very plain things, and he doesn't really understand it. And we're getting nervous. Why you don't understand? It's so simple. What do you want from him? You have a problem with him, not with him. He made it. That's what he wrote to his father.
Can you expound on the point you spoke about on the phone of how difficult it is for a child to always be special?
Yeah, you're right. Also, when I mentioned this, it's very important. Thank you. When I mentioned the 100% and we post on the refrigerator, it's also not so good. You know why? Because when you take your child and you make him so special on one thing, we're losing twice. First of all, we're losing. He feels that all his degree, all his position depends on one thing. If you're going to mess up, you're worthless. That's first lose. And the second lose we're losing here is that when you make him a special one on one thing, how long he has the power to be a special one. There was a mother in Israel. She was in one of my lectures. And then I spoke about the encouragement, and I told them, do not look about the bad things that we see in our children and then talk to him. Just waiting for a chance that you see that your child doing well, and then start to talk about him, how much is important, because as much as you're speaking about it, you actually make him important because he really done good. That's what I suggested in my lecture. After a couple of months, she came to another lecture and she told me, all what you're talking about is in total nonsense. And I asked, why? And she said, I did exactly what you said, and I got nothing. It's getting worse. I told her, okay, I'm ready to listen. What was? So she said, look, my 10 years old boy has a problem that he very, very unorganized. His room is a mess like, no, there's another word in English, balagan. It's converted to English. In New York, they say balagan. Here also, his room is like Sdom v'Amora. What should I do? Then I heard your lecture, and one day, when I came home, I found the door locked. Then I knocked on the door, and my 10-year-old boy opened the door, and he reached his hand and said, Mommy, come after me. Okay, I came after him towards his room, and I saw that it's so organized. Wow, I couldn't believe that he has the abilities to fix his room, to organize like this. Then I suddenly reminded, oh, Rabbi Barzilai said to find an opportunity that he done well, and then to express my appreciation. So I lift him up and I say, you are my angel, you are my hero. How much you thought about your mother that I had a hard day. And now I came home and I'm so surprised and thank you very much, you are my hero. Okay. Then I wait for the next day. What's going to be? And the next day I came home, I'm knocking in the door, and he opened to me, held my hand towards his room, and it's organized. Then I say also, wow, you are my hero, you are an angel, you're so special. So I ask her, okay, so everything is all right? No. It was for 2 weeks. But after 2 weeks, when I came home, the door was not locked. And I opened it. And he didn't wait to me. And I went to his room and I saw so balagan that I couldn't imagine that he can make so balagan in one day. But this is not the worsened part. The worsened part was when I told him, what did you do? Why your room is not organized? Please organize your room. Then he gave me such a look like, what do you want from me? How did you dare to ask? He was in shock. How I dare to ask him. I told her, don't you realize what's happened there? What happened? You made him a special on one thing. And you told him that if he organized his room, he is a special one. He's an angel and a hero. How long has a power to a person to be so special? How? 1 week, 2 weeks, enough. And now he really doesn't understand. Yesterday I saw so special. Today I just have no the power to be so special. So what? I become an evil? Why you yell at me? Why you dare to ask me to be so special? We actually spoil his scales of values. Because in his scale of values, he thinks that to organize my room it's something special. It's not the way. Prizes and punishments destroying the real chinuch. And the rabbi mentioned very, very important point, the mishma, the discipline. Discipline is do not offer rewards and do not threat with punishments, because I want my child to getting used to the fact when I say something, he must follow orders, not because of prizes and not because that he's scared of my punishments. Punishments ruins the chinuch, the discipline, for sure. You know what is the greatest threat of parents? You know what it is? The parents say, look, if you do so one more time, no, I don't know what I'm going to do. It's the most worst threat. And then the child, your child is very smart. He said to himself, if you don't know what you're going to do, and I don't know what you're going to do, so let's make an expert test. I would like to be smart. I want to check that. And he done, and we don't do anything. And he say, okay, it's nothing. That's the way we were as our children. If we had 1% of the sense of chinuch, the kids can be mechanchim of us, you should not need me to stand here today. Let's go back to the letter. Excuse me. Even now, no. Now I really understand that you was angry with me because I wasn't being intelligent enough. It gave you a real frustration. Finally, you had the merit for a ben zachar, to a male baby. The one who is growing up to be Talmid Chacham Amiti, to be greatest rabbi. To a son that proved the entire world how the great educator designed the next Gedol Hador, the next rabbi of the next generation. Those were your hopes. And what did you get? Foolish son. Look, self-image. That's the way he sees himself. Foolish son. Even now, when I'm adult, when I'm writing this letter for a therapeutic needs, I get trembling from the word stupid. It can be describing what this world actually doing to me. Unbelievable how you succeed your efforts, so I will identify with this word, stupid. Even today, when I hear someone around say the word stupid, I'm sure he means to me. And one of your advantage was no doubt your sense of humor. Do you remember how you presented me in front of your chavruta? Chavruta is the guy we're learning with the father every night. Do you remember? Here is my proof. You say it with a big smile. And your chavruta asks, what do you mean? And you answer, this is my proof. The intelligence doesn't passing by inheriting. That's the way you talked about me in front of me. And I am not exist. I'm not a human. I have no feeling. I have no soul. I have no spirit. I also had to pretend that I'm smiling of your cruelly joke, because if you weren't, it was laugh at me more that I have no sense of humor. But why, Daddy? Why didn't you go to the artist who made me? He made me so stupid. He was the one who avoided your intelligence to passing me by inheriting. Why I didn't complain him? Because you are Yerei Shamayim? Oh, I wish you really right at it, that I didn't get from you your sense of humor, your intelligence. Because if this is the face of the intelligence, I hope it didn't pass me by inheriting. But unfortunately, I'm not sure of that. I'm really afraid that maybe something might passing to me. And because I'm afraid to be like you, that's why you laugh at me, even today, especially you laugh at me, that I am afraid to get married. One more common issue. That kids are afraid to get married. You know why? Because they saw in their home many clashes between father and mother, many fights, many arguments. That's the world they knew. That's the world he used to know. So he said to himself, why should I get married? To ruin my life? It's a nightmare. Why should I have to do that? He wouldn't say that. Sometimes even the guy doesn't really know what bothers him. He said, no, her nose going this side. I don't want this girl. Okay, another shidduch. No, she's not tall enough. Okay, another shidduch. No, she's not beautiful enough. Okay, another shidduch. What's going on? He has something inside that bothers him. Sometimes he doesn't even aware of that. He's afraid to get married. He doesn't want to copy the marriage of his parents to his own home. Don't you understand that I'm afraid to do to my children what you've done to me? The only encouraging thing that you ever told me was that I have no sense of humor. I curse this sense. Curse on this sense and the pain and suffering that it made to me, and who knows to how many others more. And your smart sentences, till today they wounding me. Here's one sentence that you repeatedly told me. Well, every wild is a stupid, but not every stupid must be wild. You can stay stupid without being wild. What a style of encouragement. Real model of the intelligence educator. I already wrote that I know today that it was so painful for you that your son not just is not most successful in the world, he even wild. It's really affected all your degree. But how didn't you understand? And why didn't you get any consultation with no one? You decided that I am a wild, just like that teacher. That he said, he has behavioral disorder. Maybe not. You need to take Ritalin. Maybe not. Who told you? Because he doesn't sit like everybody else. So what? So what? Maybe a little bit rampant. So what? What they did in all those generations when the Ritalin wasn't exist. What they did. I'm not saying there are some cases he should take Ritalin, but not so much as we see. A small problem. I wanted to take him to a psychologist to take a look at him. In Hebrew we say, lo yo'il, lo yazik. It wouldn't give benefit, but anyway, it's not going to make a damage. And it's not truth. Because it's going to make damage. Because every child who needs to go to, thank you very much, to go to a therapist, he actually feels something is wrong with me. I had to see a doctor. Even me, when I must see one of the kids that I need to, to give an evaluate, I tell to his parents, don't tell him that I'm a counselor or something like this. No. Tell him that someone that I can find him a different place to learn. I know a lot of schools in Israel. Maybe I just want to talk to him to hear which kind of school he wants. That's That's how I want you to present me. And then when he came, I start to develop a kind of discussion, and then I help him. Without that he really aware of that, I hope. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהכל נהיה בדברו. You decided that I'm a wild because I hate the world. Where did you get it from? This is a whole big nonsense. I didn't hate the world. I was jealous then. That's right. I was abusing Gabriel from his class, one of his friends, that he always annoying him. But why? You know why? Not because of hatred. It's because of jealous. Because every day his father came from the kollel, from the place he studied Torah, from the kollel through the school, and he takes him, and I saw him how he was running towards his father. What a happiness on his face. I couldn't suffer it to see it. Because I was never be happy to see you. And let's make a test. Try to close your eyes and activate your imagination. When I came home, when I see my children, what is the first feeling that my child has? Happiness? Sadness? Nervous? What's the feeling? Chazal says, Mishenichnas Av, mema'atin b'simcha. When the Abba came home, mema'atin b'simcha. We reduce our happiness. But Chazal meaning, Av, it's a month, Chodesh Av, Tisha B'Av, Mishenichnas Av, we reduce our happiness, but not the father. Make a test, and I give you an offer. Every single time that you didn't saw your child for 2 hours and up, and now you see him, make a takana, we say in Hebrew, make a rule. The rule says, the first 2 questions I'm going to ask him is about his convenience. How are you, my son? Did you eat something? How is the clothes on you? It's comfortable to you? You need something? I don't know, made up some questions. But 2 questions. Every time you didn't see him for 2 hours and more, when you see him, ask him 2 questions about his olam hazeh, about his convenience. How can I help you to be more convenient? Then you start to be part of his life. The kids building a wall between them and us. You know why? He is an old man. What does he really understand in this world? He's an old man. The rabbi, he's an old man. He has a long beard. He's not belong to my world. But if you sit with your child and you're playing with him with the gugalach, we say, gulot, and you know all kinds of gulot. There is gula pitzputzit, and there is gula chalbanit, and there is gula belgit, all kinds of gulot. And when you ask him, how much you gain today, how much it's worth, and it's worth, it takes 2 minutes. But you're involved in his life. What matters to him, it matters to you. Then, when you talk to him about being overcome, being better, he feels connection. You are part of me. You can take him up. But we always make departure, and they stay so down. And when we say, why don't you come with me? I'm talking about serious things. The teacher in the class, he say, why don't you listening to my words? It's so important. Because you're so high. Hey, you forget you're a passenger. We are a pilot. We forget a passenger in the airport. We have to take them with us. When we have many common background, now when we lift up, they come with us. Because we have something in common. And he finished his letter by these words. I'm not capable to writing anymore. I just want to rip this ridiculous paper, to erase these cold words. I don't believe this treatment by writing a letter, because I'm screaming. I'm crying, I'm yelling, and the word stay cold, cold like my father, cold like my entire life. This is a summary of, I know it sounds extreme the case, but believe me, it's not extreme. When they spoke to the father, they found out a nice person, that he really just want his child to be good, and he didn't make avodat hamidot to keep his anger, to control his anger. And that's it. He said, you're stupid, why did it? Why don't I understand? Maybe, I whisper that, maybe just like us. But don't wait to teenager. In my book I call it the boom effect. It's like a boom. It came from blow out of the blue. It came out of the blue. Why? Because it seems that everything is well. He learned good. He ate great. He started Yeshiva Ktana. He started his college, and suddenly he get off the derech. Suddenly he have a girlfriend, Goya. How it's happened? Sometimes it's too late. It's never late, but let's be smart. I would like to finish my words.
How old was he when he wrote this letter?
What?
How old was the person that was when he
I don't know the exact, but he told me that it was teenager. I evaluate maybe 17 to 20, no more than that. Till now, we explained what to not do and what to be careful of. And even if you came only for these words, it's worth everything. The rest of it you can get in my CDs. But simple things that we can do, we can implement right now, this night, to start working with our kids, and you see like miracles. Let's say that, maybe I said in a different words. The only thing can make a person to getting forward is one thing, which called enjoyment. If you enjoy something, you do it. If you don't enjoy it, you wouldn't do it. And I'll tell you why. Shlomo HaMelech says, "Ki lo tuchal lichlo et haruach," which means you cannot put a spirit on a cage. Sometimes we have an illusion that we educate our children. Let's say that Yossi, 10 years old, as we said, I wanted to come to shul and get daven. Yossi, leave your toys, leave your interesting book. I want you to come with me to the shul. Daddy, I don't want to. Never mind, you come with me. Take his hand and take him to the shul. What Yossi thinks all over the way to shul, you know? Oh, I hate this father. I hate this shul. I hate this tefillah. Why I born dati? Why? Okay, he come to the shul. Now he wants to play with his friends outside. No, Yossi, you must sit next to me. Oh gosh. Okay, I sit next to you. Now Yossi, I want you to open the Siddur. Oh, got me crazy. You must open the Siddur. Okay, open the Siddur. Now read the current text. Oh no. And we have an illusion that we are educating our children to get pray in the shul. It's not truth. We actually make the total opposite. Because now after the tefillah, when he came home, now he more loving the tefillah or more hating the tefillah? What do you say? He more hating that. So what is the solution? To wait till it get to teenager and explain him how much is important. Then we're losing the habits that actually purchase, especially in the childhood, in the infancy. So what we can do? When we controlling our children, we can control their body. Which means I can decide that Yossi's body will not reading a book. He will sit here. And Yossi's lips will read the tefillah, but you're controlling the lips. You're controlling his body. You don't control his feeling. The only way to control our children feeling is to stimulate them, to make them feel enjoyment. This is the only thing can make someone to make one step forward. There is a great educator, renowned all over the world. You probably heard about him. What's really interesting about this educator, you know what his height? 15 centimeters. You heard about him? And he's wide like 5 centimeters. Really interesting. Don't you heard about this mechanech, the great educator? His name is iPhone. You heard about him? Look how many kids he drew them with him. How he did it? How he can do that? You know how? He's not speaking. He's not yelling. He's not screaming. He's not mechanech. He just gives you the feel that how pleasure is to be with me. The same principle we have to copy-paste to our children. If your child sits next to you and you feel enjoyment, then you are just like the iPhone, but in the positive way. How to do that? We need a special lecture only for that, but in a few words. That's right. I must take him to the tefillah. No question. I must doing it. It's called Gil Chinuch. The Shulchan Aruch says we must bring him to the tefillah. But after the tefillah, when we come home, you tell to your wife, you know, mommy, psh, and you pretend that you are not realize that he's listening to you. You know, I saw it with little Moishi, with little Yossi. You know how he pray? You know how he sits next to me all over the tefillah? Never mind that you force him to do that. Okay? Ignore that. And he sits next to me, and you know, he gave me so pleasure. I don't know which zechut we have that we have such a kid. And then, 3 days later, on Tuesday when we come home from work, take Yossi. Put your hand on his shoulder and tell him, Yossi, you know, I had a hard time today. Really hard job. And I felt that I want to leave everything and go home, go to sleep, I don't know what. And suddenly I had a picture on my mind. I saw you in my mind when you sat next to me in Shabbat, all over the tefillah. And it gave me so pleasure. I want to tell you, you saved my day. Next Shabbat, when you say, Yossi, come to tefillah, it still be difficult to him, but a little bit easier. Next Shabbat, easier, easier, easier. He started to feel connection, enjoyment. This is the key word, enjoyment. There was a mother in Israel. She has a 7 years old that he always fighting for toys, for things with his little sister. And whenever she tries, doesn't help. I told her, look, don't look for when he does something wrong, then you told him, why you don't be mevater? No. Wait for a chance that you say accidentally that his sister took something from him and he didn't respond, and then take him and speak with him about how much is important because he be mevater. As much as you say that he important, as much as you're talking about to be mevater, to pass, to give up, then in other words, the subtext became opposite. I am good one. I am good. So he opened to ears. Tell him, there was a story of one of the Avrechim in Bnei Brak. There was Avrech that he had marriage for 15 years and he has no kids. And he always came to Reb Chaim Kanievsky and asked for beracha. Rabbi, please bless me. I want to have a kid. And the Rabbi blessed him for 15 years. And he didn't get a baby. Then he came to him and said, Rabbi, please, I want you to make a gezerah that I will have a child. And the Rabbi told him, look, if I blessed you so many times and it didn't work out, maybe I don't have the zechut to bless you. Maybe I don't have the power for that. But I have a suggestion to you. What is the suggestion? I suggest you to looking for someone who is degraded by someone else in public and he is not responds. He has a merit. Maybe he can bless you. Then he went out from Reb Chaim and he said to himself, where can I find something like this? 3 months later, he was invited to a wedding, and he sat next to the table, and it was in the beginning of the wedding, and then suddenly he heard the loudly clashes from one of the table, and he saw someone yell at his friend and degrading him in public, and everyone just staring of the situation, and then he reminded, wow, Reb Chaim told me to find someone like this. So he was running towards him, and he held his hands and told him, please, please, please don't answer. Please don't respond. And he was in the stage that he getting nervous, and he was confused. Who is the person standing against me? Hold my hands and tell him, get off my way. Then he told him, please, 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 I want to tell you something. And he told him the story of Reb Chaim, and he told him what he told him. And he asked, I'm begging you, please, don't say any word, give me beracha. So he thought, and then he said, okay, I'm blessing you that you have a child. He take his hat, and he went out from the waiting hall. 1 year later, he had a child. So when you see, I told her, that mother, when you see your child, that he always fighting with his siblings, wait for an opportunity that he didn't realize. Accidentally, he passed this, he left this toy, he wants another, and his sister took it, and he didn't fight with her. Took him, put him on your knees, and tell him that story of Reb Chaim Kanievsky. And then tell him, you know how much you're important in heaven? Now when you mevater to your sister, and then take his small hands, put him on your head, and tell him, I want you to give me beracha. You have the power of beracha. Thank you for coming. Good night. If you have a question and answer, you can stay. I'm here for you.
5 minutes. See if we're questions.
Thank you. Thank you. No question, so clearly. Wow. Thank you.
Yes, we have a question here.
Yes.
How do we influence our kids not to start to pick up the iPhone? Because they start, obviously, the kids ask
If we hold an
the
iPhone,
iPhone from 1 year old.